Hello friends, this is Jenn Espinosa-Goswami coming to you on this day after Martin Luther King Day because I wanted to share a special message with you. I was not able to do anything yesterday for Martin Luther King Day, but one of my favorite authors, Sam Horn, released an article that talked about the iconic I Have a Dream speech from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And first of all, if you have heard the entirety of Dr. King's speech, when was the first time you heard it? Did you hear it through school? Did you maybe watch it yesterday on YouTube just to hear the entire thing in all its glory? When was the first time you listened to Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech? Now, the most interesting thing I thought that Sam Horn brought out about this speech that you may not be aware of, I know I wasn't aware of this, is that while he scripted that speech, and his speech is well known among speakers that I follow and that I also listen to, he scripted it, of course, because a lot of the craft of speech writing has to do with being very intentional about the journey you're taking your listeners on. But the most important thing to notice as well is it's not all about crafting or scripting the perfect words and the perfect sequence of words. And Dr. King understood this on a visceral level. And here's what I mean. The part that is quoted most often from his speech, the I Have a Dream portion of it, was actually unscripted. Sam shared with us that he looked up into his audience, took a break from his script, and came up with that just intuitively. That was the words that were flowing out of his mouth as he looked at his audience and allowed it to flow from him. Now, that is something that only experienced speakers are comfortable doing. That is something that even some experienced speakers are not terribly comfortable doing. So it's a more advanced to do that as a speaker. Speechwriters probably throw up their hands and get upset if they see that someone is going off script, because it's a very uncomfortable moment when you have a large audience and you're making a very important, powerful point. But the important thing to know about that is you may think that you need to be perfect in your business. You may think to know that you should have all the right words and all the right things to say, and everything should flow a certain way. And I'm showing up today to show you and to tell you, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to always say exactly the right words. You don't always have to show up being prepared and knowing exactly what's going to happen. In fact, some of the best moments in your business and perhaps in your life will happen when you step away from the script and you allow the emotion, the feeling, and the intuition to come through you. Sometimes we are, as speakers, we are vehicles for what needs to come through. And that may sound really weird and kind of woo-woo and spiritual, but I believe this 100% in my heart. There have been moments in my presentations when, and I don't script myself, but there are moments in my presentation when I will look up, make specific eye contact with someone in my audience, and those are the most powerful moments within my presentation. In fact, I understand that this will happen almost 100% of the time when I am speaking. If that's not happening with you currently, we need to have a conversation about what that could look like for you. I'm driving, but everything is safe. Sorry for the sunlight in the background there. If you want to include speaking as part of your journey for your business in 2022, and you're a person who is afraid to go off script, you're not sure what that looks like for you, you want to be perfect, you want to do all the right things, I'm here to tell you, I can support you. I can help you create beautiful speeches, scripted of course, but I can also help you go off script. And I tend to work with people who work in the transformational space. So coaches, healers, counselors, therapists. I tend to work with the folks who already are attuned to the feelings of their audience, who are already very intuitive and are willing to accept the intuitive hit as it comes to them. But maybe that throws you off and you don't know how to apply that into your speaking strategy. I'm happy to connect with you. I offer, for January, I have 2 speaker strategy sessions. If you want to look at the strategy overall of your speaking within your business, we can talk about that. That is available for $150 for a 90-minute session, and you can figure out all of your business activities to include speaking through March of this year. But if you want my help with crafting a beautiful speech, maybe not as great as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., but we can certainly get you to connect authentically with your audience through a combination of saying the right things, but also through exploring that connection that you create with your audience as you're speaking, and some of that is unscripted. If that is something you would like my support with, I encourage you to schedule a phone call with me, completely complimentary. It's called a discovery call. It's a 30-minute phone call where I just ask them more about your business, some of the things you're trying to accomplish, even some of the speaking opportunities you'd like to include this year. And I'm happy to share with you some of the things that have worked for me and my business, could potentially work for you, and strategize around what the next best steps could be for your business. And especially if you're someone who's like, yeah, I did watch the speech from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on YouTube, and I think I want to explore how I can use YouTube for my business. I do have a program coming up called Confidence on Camera. I'm happy to chat with you about what that could look like. We're enrolling next week for that, actually. So I invite you to connect with me to discuss these different options of how you can be both scripted and polished, but also off the cuff, spontaneous, and connected with the people who are listening for the powerful message that you have to share. This is Jen. Thank you for connecting with me. See the links to connect with me below this video, and I appreciate you watching. Let me know if you're watching. Say hi for the replay, and I can't wait to connect with you and help you get your message out into the world. Have a good afternoon.